cash should be viewed as changed, and all of the different Wall Street models should have changed, but it's not. And I think, in my opinion, I want you to have enough cash where you don't have to worry about it. And if 25,000 makes you feel liquid, and then you got the rest in CDs or annuities or the market or wherever your money's lined up, that's great. And they're like, well, Greg, what if something? I'm like, what are we talking about here, guys? This isn't Warren Buffett looking for opportunistic purchases. People aren't like, well, I need to buy that plane if it comes by. I need to make sure that island I've been looking for comes around. I'm going to buy it quick. No. What are we talking about? You're looking for that's cute. Was it a whiskey came available at Kroger's? Like that's what we're worrying about, right? Like these aren't huge purchases. And I think, again, if you're breaking down cash and you're thinking through your investment allocations, ignore your financial advisor and put what makes you feel good. And if more cash makes you feel warm and snuggle and you cuddle up with that cash every night, you're like, I want 100. Okay, put 100 in there. That's fine. It doesn't matter that you're losing. And don't look at it like you're losing a bunch of interest. Who cares? Your peace of mind is more important. And that's all that matters, really, when it comes to your investment allocation. There's so many different ways to skin this cat. When we build our investment allocations, Randy, we do it in a very simple chassis, because we believe all the other risks are more important, with the taxes and the legal and the income, and making sure that all those are aligned. The allocation part's the easy part. And we want to make sure that we do it simply with predictability that still has upside, but still also provides protection and consistency, so that we're not worrying about what NVIDIA did last week, right? That's not the way I want to manage. I don't want my firm to manage their clients that way. I don't want that level of chaos. I want their investment portfolio to be successful, but to be boring. And I want their retirement to be the exciting part. And, if you want to check out what that looks like, obviously we build the roadmap first, because you can't really do the investment allocation talk until we see what you need. That income forecast will tell the story. We'll look at the other risks. Once we get all those things built out, Randy, then we can have that fun conversation of where we're putting all your money into what buckets and what are the different options in each bucket. And every bucket has different options based on, what gets you excited. And I think that's important, because it is personal. And at the end of the day, a lot of these things end up in the same place. We just want the smoothest ride to get there. And that's the most important part about retirement, is making it easy, simple, visible, predictable, consistent. All of those things are what I want in an investment allocation for my clients, not unpredictable, sporadic highs, lows, peaks, valleys, shorts, longs. No, what are we doing here? Come on, we're not Warren Buffett. You've got a couple $1,000,000 here in retirement that we need to last. Let's play the long game here, make it boring, predictable, and still awesome, so that your retirement's the fun part, Randy. That's the goal of the roadmap, and hopefully a lot of you guys check it out.
There's been a lot of people who have retired before you, and a lot of people who have walked through the doors of Golden Reserve for that help. And that's what this roadmap is built on. What did they want, and how can we help you? Your investments, the taxes, the fees, the legal documents, the income, all of these things have been built by people before you who have gone into retirement. These are the things, these are their boxes that they wanted checked off. That's what you'll get in a roadmap for retirement. Let's have that conversation, and let's help. GetYourRoadmap.com is the website. GetYourRoadmap.com. Spell it out. There's a place for you to put some information in there, and our team will reach out to you. Or you can find us at one of our offices near you, Green Tree, Wexford, and Canonsburg, 412-790-0000. Again, 412-790-0000. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great weekend. We'll be here next week. We hope you will be too. Check out our YouTube channel as well under Fire Your Financial Advisor. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening to Fire Your Financial Advisor with Greg Ayler. To learn more about getting the help you need to and through retirement, go to GetYourRoadmap.com.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Investment advisory services offered only through investment advisory representatives at Golden Reserve Retirement LLC, a registered investment advisor. Gregory Ayler does not provide investment advisory services nor insurance and annuity products. Insurance products offered through licensed professionals at Golden Reserve LLC, insurance licensed in Alabama, Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, North Carolina, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Exposures to ideas and financial vehicles discussed are not designed nor intended to be applicable to any person's individual circumstances. It should not be considered as investment advice, nor does it constitute a recommendation that anyone engage in or refrain from a particular course of action. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Golden Reserve Retirement LLC, Golden Reserve LLC, Golden Reserve Tax LLC, and Ayler Stallings LLC are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Legal services offered by Ayler Stallings LLC. Tax services offered through Golden Reserve Tax LLC. The previous program is paid for by Golden Reserve.
There's so much to talk about in retirement, but you have so little time. Just listen to the Fire Your Financial Advisor podcast. Like and subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
The proceeding was paid for by Golden Reserve. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
The preceding program was pre-recorded.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. We begin with violence in Louisiana. 5 people were injured when gunfire rang out during a Mardi Gras parade north of Baton Rouge. Sheriff Jeff Travis says they have several suspects.
3 individuals in custody. And when I say custody, I mean we took them in custody. I'm not saying that they actually did the shooting, but all 3 of these individuals were identified. They had guns.
Among those shot, a 6-year-old who was hit in the leg multiple times. The Coast Guard has suspended a search for a missing crew of a fishing boat off the coast of Massachusetts. Captain Jamie Frederick says the weather made the search challenging.
I spoke to the patrol boat captain who was out searching through the night this morning. He stated that they were fighting some pretty nasty conditions. 7-10-foot seas, 30-knot sustained winds, and freezing spray. They were taking on ice.
7 people were reported on board the Lily Jean. They did recover the body of 1 crew member. The Southeast is dealing with a lot of snow and freezing temps. The cold snap extends all the way to central Florida.
I'm Peter King in Orlando. It's not unusual for it to get cold here in Florida in January. Generally temperatures the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But overnight, it's going to be a much different story. We're expected to bottom out in the neighborhood of 25 degrees here. That is colder than it's been here since late 2010. A lot of people are protecting their plants outside with sheets, pillowcases, towels. A lot of people are taking their most tender plants indoors to keep them alive.
Around 240 million people are under winter storm warnings and cold weather advisories. Puxatawny Phil set to make his big weather prediction Monday, either 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring. Tens of thousands are expected to be at Gobbler's Knob in Pennsylvania for the event shortly after sunrise. The Senate passed a funding package late last night after striking a bipartisan deal, but the agreement still needs the approval of the House. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns break down what both sides were after.
Democrats want to end roving patrols of immigration enforcement agents, tighten the rules around warrants, institute a uniform code of conduct, and require federal agents to wear body cameras and ban face coverings. But Republicans have legislative demands of their own.
I'm willing to entertain some reforms, but the cancer that we're dealing with is sanctuary city policy.
The House returns to Washington Monday. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS Mornings on the go on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-885-8877. 800-885-8877. Again, that's 800-885-8877.
Archaeologists in Alta, Utah just dug up a 150-year-old bottle of booze.
How might the alcohol taste?
I don't know that anyone's going to really like it if they try to drink it.
Operations manager at Moonshine University, Clay Smith, says, however,
you could learn quite a bit from it. Potential flavor profiles, yeast profiles.
Is it worth trying to recreate a 19th century beer?
I don't know that's going to yield something better than we're capable of in our day and age.
Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
A classic 80s movie is finally getting a sequel. Nearly 40 years after the original, Lionsgate has officially greenlit a sequel to Dirty Dancing. Jennifer Grey is returning as Frances Baby Houseman, the role that made her a star back in 1987. While plot details and a release date haven't been announced just yet, production is set to begin later this year. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Wesley Financial.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
There could be a flurry around this evening, otherwise mostly cloudy and very cold tonight. We'll have a low of 1, and mostly cloudy and bitterly cold tomorrow, a high of 20, and then temperatures climb up to 25 Monday with sun and some clouds. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson at 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli.
Pittsburgh Mayor Corey O'Connor has been tested early on in his administration, and so far, he's passing. The city's public works fleet continues to be challenged after nearly a foot of snow fell last weekend. But Mayor O'Connor has been tireless while keeping the public in the know. Ability starts with availability, and he is constantly giving updates. He appeared on KDKA Radio 3 separate times the day after the historic storm. Then, on Thursday, O'Connor, along with UPMC, announced a one-time gift of $10 million to the city that will go toward buying new emergency vehicles. The money will pay for 9 new ambulances and 1 rescue truck this year, along with 35 new Department Works vehicles and more EMS vehicles in 2027. Friday, the mayor received a $2 million commitment from PNC Bank to buy 15 new plow trucks. O'Connor will face more challenges in the coming weeks, months, and years, but this is how true leaders lead. He is out in front of the issues and facing the challenges head on. The stage does not appear to be too big for Mayor O'Connor. So far, so good.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
A happy Saturday evening to you. When you hear all that wall of sound of guitar just blaring at you, you know it's me. Because nobody's playing that as a theme song. Why? Because they wouldn't be that bold, maybe. Maybe they just wouldn't be that old. That rhymed unintentionally, but that kind of stuff just flows with me. You know that. because you listen from 2 to 5 on Sundays here on News Radio KDKA, so you know who this is. And those of you that don't, you bet ask somebody. Did I really say that out loud? I've embarrassed all of my family by doing that. I apologize to everybody out there in McAllister land. That said, Lenny McAllister here. Generally speaking, on Sundays from 2 to 5, I am here. I do what I'm about to do right now. Daring, yet courageous. I'm going to open up the phone lines. 866-391-1020. 866-391-1020. I know that usually I'm not here. I'm filling in. And so John and Rachel were here at one point in time, and Michael Bartley wasn't here. And so now we did a little bit of the Freaky Friday thing where we've taken other people's shifts. I will be here tomorrow, but I'm filling in tonight, which gives us an opportunity to talk for 3 hours about some of the things that have been going on. Now, when I was on Sunday, there was this little thing going on here in the region and across 2/3 of the country with snow. Just a little bit of snowfall on Sunday and Monday. And then there was a little bit of cold until, 2 minutes ago. It's still cold outside, by the way. So I didn't get a chance to talk about Minnesota. I didn't get a chance to even talk about what transpired with Greenland. So I have the phone lines open now to do that, because there's a lot of stuff coming out in regards to people rolling out of Minnesota. There was a bill proposed here in Allegheny County that ties in to Minnesota. I want to talk about that as well. I want to talk about other things that have transpired. I want to talk about the fact that more stuff dropped with the Epstein files. So I'm inclined today to go a bunch of different directions. So 866-391-1020. Now, generally what I like to do is I like to start in my happy place. Those of you that can go back to an Adam Sandler film from the 1990s where people putted with hockey sticks. I like to start the show going back to my happy place so that I can, get through the show with some of this stuff that's kind of tough to talk about. So I'm going to my happy place now. And I am completely thrilled to do it over the next couple of minutes. And if you all tease me, if you're looking at the live stream, then that's on you. I don't care. Here's the thing about getting older. And here's the thing in particular about being a grandparent. You will do things for your grandchildren that you wouldn't do for your kids. You might do a lot for your kids, and you love your kids. And of course you want the best for your kids, and of course you would do a lot for your kids if you're a certain type of parent. And I would like to think that I am. But it's funny because Larry Richard used to tell me this when I would be on Mondays. And I'm still on Mondays, by the way. Big K Morning Show, 5:30 to 10. Larry's on. I'm on at 8 o'clock, 8 to 9. But we would go to commercial break, and Larry'd be like, it's just a different type of love. I know you love your kids. I love my kids. But being a grandparent's a different type of love. And he's right. And part of that different type of love is you'll have an opportunity to do things that maybe you would do for your kids, but maybe not. Like, for example, my granddaughter turns 1 year old today. It's not 1 year old because one is singular. I did learn a little bit of English. She's 1 year old today, which first of all is amazing to think about that she's actually 1 year old already. Number two, once you've had that chance to fawn over the couple and fawn over the couple during the baby shower and then see the baby for the first time and then hold the baby for the first time and then, do the grandparenting things where you crawl on the couch or you play peekaboo or anything else along those lines. You pick up, you snuggle with. I will still never forget, the first time I had a chance to allow my granddaughter to fall asleep on my chest, which was amazing because it just took me back to the first time my firstborn did that, her mother. And it was just amazing. So I'm looking in the camera. I say all that to say this. I'm wishing my granddaughter, who is not dealing with this cold, ironically, because this storm is no joke, she's dealing with cold and she's in the South, deep South. But if she's looking at the camera, if she's watching on YouTube, I'm going to wave to my lovely granddaughter and wish her a happy 1-year-old birthday. Now, I know some of you might say, you weirdo, stop talking into the camera. You know what? It's my granddaughter. You do stuff for your grandchildren. Leave me alone. I want to, for just a moment, to look at her and tell her how much I love her, how much I love her mom and her dad, how happy we are that she's celebrating her first birthday, and that I hope that she takes her cupcake or cake or whatever else she has and makes the mess that every 1-year-old makes on their first birthday. And enjoys it and just makes the most of it and laughs and plays with her Christmas gifts that she's been getting from all different types of family members and continues to work on the walking and the talking and everything else. And that we love her and we miss her very, very much. And it's just amazing that we're already here. So yes, happy birthday to my granddaughter. I'm not saying her name because you don't need to know her name. I'm not getting yelled at by my daughter. Hey, don't be announcing my daughter's name over all the radio for everybody to hear. She wouldn't say that. Maybe she would. But aside from that, I could still say I love my family. And I'm going to do that here. I'm going to wish that family a wonderful birthday celebration. Stay warm because it's cold everywhere. And we look forward to seeing them again soon. In the meanwhile, I will get to the phones. I'm not going to wish you all happy birthday, unless if it is your birthday. But I'm not going to stare in the camera and wish you happy birthday. That would be creepy. A 1-year-old granddaughter? It's lovely. It's endearing. Some of you all at 866-391-1020, if I stare at the camera and wish you happy birthday repeatedly, creepy, could lead to a complaint to management. So I won't do that. That said, though, 866-391-1020, I will take phone calls. And I'm going to jump into that right after this break on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for the AccuWeather forecast. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
Attention Pittsburgh area residents. If you have Medicaid and need help with activities of basic living, Freedom Care can make it easy. With Freedom Care, the person who cares for you can be someone you love, your family, your friend, or a trusted neighbor. They can assist you with meals, bathing, eating, mobility, and more. And Medicaid pays them for your care. You stay in the home you love, surrounded by the people you choose, and it's 100% free to you. Don't wait. Call Freedom Care now. Call 412-674-5196. With Freedom Care, you get the care you need, and your loved one gets paid instantly after every shift. Feel better, heal better, and live better at home with Freedom Care. Call 412-674-5196 or visit freedomcare.com today. That's 412-674-5196. Again, 412-674-5196. 412-674-5196.
Here's the tale of Tina, searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell GoodRx wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I'll put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more.
By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensate for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Let's ring in the new year by finally checking off something that actually matters. Your old videotapes and photos are fading more every year. VCRs are disappearing, and the clock is ticking to save your family's most important memories. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box to help you preserve your memories by converting all your videotapes, photos, and film reels into digital files. And this year, it's easier than ever.
Introducing our biggest kit yet, able to hold up to 80 videotapes or film reels or 2,000 photos. It's perfect for big collections. You can even send in old DVDs, memory cards, flip phones, or early generation iPhones.
Legacy Box is truly the easiest New Year's resolution you'll ever keep. Just fill your box and send it in. As the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos, all work is done in the U.S., and we're trusted by over 1 million families.
Start the new year right by rescuing the moments you haven't watched in years. Go to legacybox.com/radio for an incredible 55% off. That's legacybox.com/radio for 55% off.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. When you need a fighter, you need us. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. For the people. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Now, am I in my happy place because I was able to give that birthday wish out? Yes. Can I now putt with a hockey stick? No. Now listen, if you all are going to call into 866-391-1020, you all know that we play pop culture bingo, and it's not always music, by the way. Play along. Happy learned how to putt. 866-391-1020. Go into the phone line. Cynthia in Florida, you are on KDKA.
Good. Hi, Lenny. Don't ask me one of those questions. My husband's what is it, popular culture person. I don't know music. I'm still stuck in the days of Mandrill and the last poets.
All right, so anyway. first question before you get to something serious, I got to ask you this question first.
Oh,
you're in Florida. How cold is it? This is almost like a match game question. You remember the match game? Can you hear me, Cynthia? Cynthia?
Are you still there?
I am. Can you hear me? Cynthia, call me back because you can't hear me. I was going to literally ask her how cold it was in Florida. And then I was going to go to another pop culture reference. Mike, if you can grab her back, that'd be great. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was her cell phone or what. I don't know if any of you all remember the match game. I'm going to ask Cynthia if she remembers the match game. Because I was kind of going down that path with her. Cynthia, can you hear me now, ma'am?
I can, yeah.
Okay, do you remember the match game from the 70s, the game show? Do you remember that?
No.
With Gene Rayburn? Oh, come on. You're 0 for 3 on pop culture bingo. Next time you call me, make sure he's sitting beside you so you at least get 1 out of 3. So anywho,
okay. Well, I couldn't hear the other two because I called.
That's all right. Well, you're 0 for 1. I'm not going to let you. It's like 2 walks in baseball. You got 3 plate appearances. You're 0 for 1. But for match game, it was they would give the question would be like, Cynthia from Florida called in and she said it was cold, and then the whole audience would go, "How cold was it?" Cynthia said that although she was in Florida, she was able to blank just by standing outside. And then everybody had to guess what the 6 celebrities were saying, and that's how you got points, and that's how you won money. My point is, I was going to ask you, Cynthia, it's cold in Florida. And then, of course, Mike and the whole audience would say, how cold is it, Cynthia? And then you would tell us how cold it was.
Cold as an icicle. I don't know.
How many? No, you didn't have to try to guess what the celebrities said. You and I are not celebrities. I wanted to know what the actual temperature was.
It's about 30 here. Yeah, laugh.
Oh, man, I'd break out some shorts and probably go swimming if I'd heard 30 degrees today here.
Yeah, I have the fire pit on. I'm out in the Lanai, but it's cold. So don't anybody deny climate change. I don't want to hear you. Look at what's happening all over the country.
So I'll probably hold you over the news break if you have time. And here's why. I'm going to start off. You're going to get a chance to talk. But you said don't say anything about global climate change because there is a sign on the Parkway East where somebody bought a slide on the electronic billboard that said, what happened to all that global warming? And it has a picture of a snowman shivering because of the temperatures here. Now, before your head explodes, my head went to the same place because I'm like, you obviously don't believe in science because you took literally warming it. So I every time I see that, I go to, it's amazing. In America, I tell my kids all the time, I tell people all the time, in America, you're allowed to be wrong. Doesn't mean you just because you can doesn't mean you're right in America. And to me, that's just an example of that. But I didn't mean to throw you off.
They wasted money on that sign.
It's their money. It's their money. What did J.G. Wentworth used to say? It's your money. Why can't you use it? It's their money. Why can't they use it? I know I got you away from Minnesota by talking about the weather and global warming. This is why I said I'd hold you after the break, so I'm going to let you start, and then if I have to go to break, I will come back to you. So please start, ma'am.
Yeah, I've had some interesting interactions online. And I was called, there's an acronym called AWFUL for Affluent White Urban Liberal Females. And people thought I was white. And they were calling me this. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? But I want to go through this. These people are hoping, some people are hoping for a race war in this country.
Yes, they are.
They're afraid that they're becoming the minorities.
And they've been working toward, and look, those groups, by the way, Cynthia, people take them lightly. Again, people forget that the FBI, all the way back to 2008, said the biggest threat to American instability are white supremacists that are pushing ideologies that are hoping for a race war. Now, disclaimer, I don't want people hearing that all black people think that all white people want a race war. That is not what was said or is implied by you or me. But there are people with a certain ideology that are saying, this is our moment. Let's go ahead and push as hard as we can because maybe we can get something to control into that race war. And they've been doing this and ramping stuff up since 2008.
And that's why I said some.
Yes, exactly.
There's many more people that have better sense. But I just remember even when they had the protest in Target, and I'm reading these comments. People are hoping people are going to go down there and loot. They're going to go down there and riot. Well, none of that happened. I mean, people have better sense. And they also, this is why they also support these wars all over the world, because these are against brown people. Or people that are not white people. I mean, this is lunacy.
Well, but Cynthia,
it's been an interesting.
Hold on. Let me take that. Let me step that back though, because some of these wars that they support, they don't really care about the color of skin. If it depends on who it is too. I mean, for example,
resources. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you talk about resources, it doesn't matter about the color of skin, or depending on who's our friend and who's not our friend. I mean, everybody kind of looks the same. When you start talking about the Middle East, it's a region of the country. Now, of course, there are ideological and religious differences there, but it's not like one group of people is pitch black and the other group of people is, snow white skin color. You go to places such as, for example, the conflict over the years, particularly if you go back to the 60s, 70s, and early 80s in Northern Ireland. Those are situations where
that was a religion.
Yes, exactly. So there are instances where we can care less about skin color. We get into ideology. Go to Central America. Look at some of the instances in the 70s and the 80s there. Everybody looks similar, but one's communist, one's not. One can help us against the Soviet Union, one's not. And by the way, it's not exactly like the Soviet Union, either A, are black people, or B, like black people. So, I mean, if you look at, and I'd say that less about the Soviet Union, because it doesn't exist as that today. People go look at the ideology of the Soviet Union and the Communist Party and some of the things that the Soviet Union used to say about black folks. They would use the race. Yeah. And this is why I said I'm going to hold you after the break. You know, people would use the ideology that was going on in the United States and say, see, you talk about democracy to us, but you don't even treat your quote-unquote Negroes right. But then if you look at some of the stuff they used to write about quote-unquote Negroes, you'd be like, oh, I'd rather be American, because you rather would be American based on how they viewed race. Digressing, though, not to get all Cold War-ish on you just because it's 5 degrees outside, but it is 5 degrees outside. Cynthia, I'm coming back to you. I'm going back to others. We will get to Minnesota. I know that's where Cynthia wants to go. So I'm inclined to do that, but I'm going to do that after the news on News Radio KDKA.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Throughout Black History Month, the city of Pittsburgh celebrates the spirit and heroism of the Vachon family. Downtown, on Friday evening, February 6th, join a reception in the City County Building Grand Lobby. Schley Deck and Fence Company. Call today for an estimate on your rotten, rusted, paint shipping railings. Get your railings safe again by spring. Call 412-515-6575. Schley Deck and Fence. SchleyDeckCompany.com. PA 211 is a free confidential service available 24/7. If you're facing challenges with basic needs like food, insecurity, housing, or utility bills, help is just a phone call away. Dial 211 or PA211.org to connect with local resources today.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. Shots were fired at a Mardi Gras parade north of Baton Rouge in Louisiana. Sheriff Jeff Travis.
We're not aware that anybody has deceased or that it was a fatality, but we have 5 victims that I know of right now from gunshot.
3 people are in custody. The search for the missing crew of a fishing boat off the coast of Massachusetts has now been called off. State Senator Bruce Tarr says one body was recovered.
There was a raft discovered on scene without an inhabitant. That raft also was made capable of deploying without human intervention.
Temps well below freezing continue along the East Coast. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
This is one of the longest, most sustained cold stretches our city has endured in years, and it is showing no signs of abating. We remain in a code blue.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market team when they discuss delicious recipes utilizing leftovers. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling.
I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Colin Dunlap on KDKA.
At 75 years old, all drivers should have to retake the road test. If you're good to drive, what's the problem with doing this? But drivers who are 65 plus are involved in about 60% of all crashes into buildings, yet they make up only about 19% of all drivers.
Weekdays 2 to 6 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Having trouble keeping up with your electric bill? Duquesne Light Company can help customers manage costs through their Customer Assistance Program. Flexible payment plans, budget billing, rebates, and more. Duquesne Light realizes these are difficult times, and they are all committed to supporting our communities. Discover how you can save money and stay comfortable in your home year-round by visiting DuquesneLight.com/assistance. That's DuquesneLight.com/assistance.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Very cold again tonight, maybe an early flurry, otherwise mostly cloudy, a low of 1. Mostly cloudy, a bitterly cold day tomorrow, high near 20. Still frigid tomorrow night with clouds at a low of 4. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, I'll catch you on Monday. Hope you're having a great weekend. Colin Dunlap, hopefully you survive through this weekend. It's going to be bitter cold right now. Talk to you on Monday, 2 to 6, right here, KDK.
All right, I'm going back to Cynthia. Cynthia, please continue your point, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the people in the street protesting against ICE and Homeland Security. And from what I'm thinking, based on what I'm looking at, it seems like the Homeland Security agents are perhaps worse than some of the ICE agents because they did things down along the Texas border. Based on an article I read in The Nation, would stand out in front of vehicles to have an excuse to shoot people and kill them. They were shooting kids in the back, that kind of stuff. But I'm glad to see these protests. And the people are angry that so many white people are in these protests. Well, Minnesota's a majority white state.
Well,
I'm going to go.
That and this, Cynthia, I mean, the bottom line is, right is right and wrong is wrong. It doesn't have a color. And I don't understand why people don't get that. I mean, there are some people in America that genuinely believe in the American way of life, and they don't define that the way that some people in this country do. They do believe in the Constitution. They do believe in civil rights. They do believe in equality. Why are we shocked that those people, regardless of color or creed, would go out in the streets? I mean, I guarantee you there are people out there that are Latino. I guarantee you there are naturalized citizens out there that are like, look, if I get arrested, I get arrested, but I know I'm a citizen and it just is what it is.
Yeah, and there is a judge, and I'm sorry I can't think of his name right now. He clerked under Antonin Scalia. He has called these people into his court to call them out because they're violating the Constitution. The excuses they're giving to drag people out of their cars is unconstitutional. If you could look up his name, he clerked under Antonin Scalia. He's hard on these agents for doing what they're doing. But I'll get off and let some other people get in. It's good listening to you.
Likewise, stay warm out there. Make sure you stay warm out there. Look, there's a lot of things that really come into play with what Cynthia brought up and what's been going on around the nation. And again, the phone lines are open, 866-391-1020. I know generally speaking during this time slot, the phones aren't open. And those of you that listen passively can now listen actively. You can be involved. You can be part of the show, as they say in Radio Land, if you choose. There's a lot of things going on with what's transpiring around the country, and particularly in Minnesota. Number one, let's start with this. As much as you hear and you've seen this transition in leadership with ICE and Kristi Noem being on the hot seat as well, at the same exact time, there's just constant back and forth in regards to what will they actually eventually do and how will it play out on the streets in Minneapolis and other cities around the country. Now, I hate to bring up receipts because people don't like me bringing up receipts. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's as if, and this is the microwave mentality that we have in America these days, much less, particularly over the last 10 years. People don't like bringing up history. It's a history major. Maybe not the best of the best history majors out of Davidson College, but my degree does say history, I'm just saying. And one of the things I remember, and this goes back to training, and it more so goes to tacit, condoned consent. See where I'm going in a second. When newly minted President Donald J. Trump, he of the 45 ilk, met with police officers and law enforcement early in his term, he said, you don't have to be so nice when you arrest the bad guys. You can take them into custody, and if you can't get their head down in time before they hit their heads off the door, I mean, once or twice, no one's going to get mad if you do that. And even the law enforcement officers, if you go look at the clip, there's a nervous laugh. They're like, am I supposed to laugh at that? If I laugh at it, what does it say? If I don't laugh at it, am I not on board with this president, who's a new president, who's going to be here for a second? And when you have that type of tone, and that just gets grown on steroids because of a second term, the belief that I got elected on a mandate to do these type of things. And again, people forget the mandate that President Trump was elected on in 2024 was twofold, almost exclusively. Number one, inflation. How's the economy working out right now? Number two was the border, not immigration yanking people out of northern cities. Not going into urban areas and occupying them. It was specifically the border. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris did not secure the border, is what the complaint was. Those are the two issues. Immigration reform has now become, we're going to go into cities, we're going to show them who's boss, we're going to take the type of rhetoric that we saw in 2017, and, sometimes we got to take somebody in, as they're trying to get into their car, they don't duck fast enough, no one's going to get mad. I'm just kidding. Maybe I'm not. Just kidding. And then the other approach has not been getting the hardened criminals out. They've been playing fast and loose with criminal. Yes, you are a criminal if you come into the United States and break immigration law. You have committed a crime. But if you recall, the bait part of bait and switch, you'll remember that people were on board with getting the hardened criminals, the dope dealers, the people that are carrying the semi-automatic weapons, the people that are taking neighborhoods and terrorizing people. That's what the average everyday American wanted out of their country. That's what they supported when they said, oh, if you're going to go and root them out, go get them. And then strengthen the border. Or, actually, more appropriately and more chronologically correct, strengthen the border first, and then after that, go get the hardened criminals and kick them out and keep them out. We don't even really necessarily want them in our jails because then we got to pay for them there. We want them gone. We want their syndicate gone. And the majority of Americans can get down with that. That's not where we are. It's kind of like, yes, I can kill inflation. I can bring back jobs. How are you going to do that? I'm going to start a tariff war. And we're going to lose jobs out of the economy, and we're going to risk a recession. We're going to risk the dollar getting weaker and money going into gold and investments in gold versus investments in jobs. And let's just be honest, everybody. We'll get back to Minnesota in a second, and I see the phone lines, 866-391-1020. They're starting to fill up. Keep them coming. David, I'll get to you in a second. I want to make sure you get time after the break. When money's being invested into gold, it's not being invested in R&D. It's not being invested in downtown buildings in Pittsburgh where people will come back to work and work there. It's not being invested in startups with 27-year-olds with their catchy new idea that needs 3 to 4 years to launch the idea. The money's being put into a commodity that's not going to buy a house. It's not going to buy a car. That's not going to buy groceries. It's not going to buy clothes. And it's not going to create jobs. These are things that people wanted to see post-2024 that they're not seeing. So when you have that coupled with what we're seeing in Minneapolis, prior to that, Chicago, other cities, particularly as we're in America 250, people have a legitimate right to question what the heck is going on. Number two, they have a right to go out there and protest. Now, I'm going to get into Don Lemon, and I'm going to get into where can you protest, and was he protesting or was he covering a protest, and where was he when he was doing those things? And even if he was kind of skirting the line, do you really want to, take your political capital and go after Don Lemon? We could talk about that at 866-391-1020 because that's part of where I want to go. And again, Black Forrest Gump, I have worked with Don Lemon over the years. I have worked with people that have worked with Don Lemon, both in Chicago when he was an anchor in Chicago, as well as at CNN when I was doing a whole kit and caboodle of CNN shows, including Saturday afternoon shows, which is where his show used to be before he went primetime. People don't realize that or don't remember that. He was Saturday afternoon, every Saturday and Sunday afternoon. So I'll get into that in a little bit. But it's very easy to forget what was said 18 months ago, where we are right now. And in the fog of war, the fog of civil war, it's very easy to forget goals if you're not mindful of what goals should be for you, your neighbor, your family, your communities, and your country. That's what I'm trying to do over the next 2.5 hours. Help blow that out for you so you can see clearly again. David, I'll get to you. Bill, I'll get to you afterwards here on News Radio KDKA.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Why deal with crowded hotels and packed pools when you can have the whole place to yourself? At SWAC Vacation Rentals, some homes come with private lazy rivers, indoor pools, massive game rooms, and outdoor kitchens built for the whole crew. These aren't hotel rooms, they're private vacation playgrounds, managed by us, cared for by us, and ready when you arrive. And when you book direct, you keep more of your vacation budget where it belongs, with you. Find your unforgettable stay at SWAC. SWACK Vacations.com. That's SWACVacations.com.
Here's a tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell GoodRx wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I'll put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Larry Richard for CertaPro Painters. For more than a decade, I've been working with CertaPro Painters, doing great work for me, and now is the time. Get a free estimate, get on the schedule at the right price. You never have to wonder what's next with CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Time is now as people want to get their tax situation squared away. It's Cole, Benoni, Wilson.
So many changes. Even the tax professionals were double checking the rules. There's dozens. You know, you're seeing them, like you said, on the federal and state by state adjustments, inflation updates.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-932-5858. That's 800-932-5858. 800-932-5858.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, jump into the phone lines right away. David in San Francisco, you are on KDK.
Hey, Lenny, happy birthday for that baby, grandbaby of yours.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Sure. And as you're doing your time traveling with her, you might want to let her appreciate the big star that's. What are you going to show her about 20 years from now? The video of you saying that.
Well, I'm sure her parents will do that. And by the way, time traveling, I do not have a TARDIS, sir. I'm just saying. You're not a Doctor Who fan, are you?
But you could, if you just mention the name Fritzy Langoon. Now, Fritzy Langoon won't be born until tomorrow.
Okay.
But she's going to be bigger than Billie Eilish in 20 years.
Oh, wow. So, is that one of your grandkids?
Oh, no. I just, I've been there, and, she's got the moves and the
moves like Jagger? I'm playing. It's a song. It's a song, David. It's pop culture bingo. I'm here on a Saturday night. I got to do something because I'm not usually here on a Saturday night. Just play along.
Sure.
What were you? You were in call though. I didn't mean to distract you. Go right ahead.
Well, you were talking about climate change and whether it's real or not. It's not so much whether or not these incidents happen. It's how quick the snow melts. When I was a kid, the snow would stick around for weeks, and if it's gone in half a week, if it melts in 2 days, that's going to be the problem, because that's how the topsoil gets washed away. Everything gets dumped on you, and then everything melts in a matter of hours, and then all of the dirt goes floating down to the Gulf of Mexico, making the Gulf of Mexico warmer and warmer because it's silt and just tepid water down there that makes the storms bigger, that washes it away faster. So that's what the problem is. And Donald Trump does not believe in climate change. Project 2025 don't want to admit that they caused it. And they can't, if they admit that they caused it, then they would have to pay to clean it up or resolve it. And of course, planting trees is supposed to be the smartest thing that humans could do right now. And here we got pre-spring right now. People should be getting out those acorns or gathering the seeds and starting to plant every possible different way. Get this stuff in there so that the winds will die down, so that the shade gets put on the earth, so that the oxygen gets replenished. And, the big problem is the polluters can't admit that they caused it. If they admitted even 10% of it, it would bankrupt them. One spill, just one oil spill, can cause vast. The smallest spill can still cause a vast amount of
as
financial.
As people that are alive have learned. We have lived through some of this. I mean, this is something that people would talk about in theory and be like, well, that would never happen. And there's been enough for us to remember between BP and Exxon. For people my age and definitely older to be able to say, well, that did happen, and we saw the aftermath, and we saw the apology tours, and it had an impact environmentally as well as economically.
Oh yeah, and as a matter of fact, you mentioned the Exxon Valdez. That was 40 years ago.
Exactly.
The lawsuits took 25 years to resolve. Everybody saw it right in front of their faces, but Exxon refused to pay. Took 25 years to get a pittance out of them. And same with, the BP spill. That was 2010.
Yep.
So these companies, that's what Project 2025 is all about. They do not want to. They'll find it cheaper to bribe every congressman, every politician, to refuse to admit that they caused a problem.
And David, I appreciate your phone calls. I'm going to break. I mean, the truth is, they do it and they have deeper pockets. But unfortunately, the way politics works these days is every business tries to do that. How much can I lobby people in power to get them to vote my way? And if I could get them elected, if I can keep them elected, and let's just be honest, in some instances, if I can keep them entertained, we'll keep their vote. Now, this is why I've always been for term limits. I've always been for a different type of voting mechanism. I mean, I do not like, and a lot of Americans, generally speaking, don't like the lack of term limits. They don't like the gerrymandering. I mean, imagine most of us being able to say, I'm going to pick what my job is. I'm going to pick how much I'm going to get paid. I'm going to pick how long I'm going to stay here. But I'm going to work for somebody else. And I'm only going to listen to them like maybe 2 months out of 24. One, that's not real life. Two, that's not responsiveness in politics, as we well know. So, yeah, David, the oil company's got really deep pockets. It's not everybody. And it's interesting. He brought up one other thing that I'm going to break, 866-391-1020. He brought up again the Trump administration doesn't believe in climate change, but they're very interested in Greenland since you can now access some rare earth minerals in Greenland because of said changes. Hour number 2 coming up after the break. News Radio KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for moms.
Hola, amigos. BetMGM Tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, covers the biggest sports stories nationwide, live and interactive. From the build-up to the big game in Santa Clara to the road to March in college hoops. As the night's games are getting underway, we're following along for the stories that matter. Tap in. BetMGM Tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. Rescue efforts have been suspended for the crew of a Massachusetts fishing boat lost at sea. Coast Guard Captain Jamie Frederick says one body was recovered and a debris field was found, but 6 crew members remain missing.
If someone had been in a survival suit, there's a high probability we would have found someone in that location. And unfortunately, we didn't.
A powerful winter storm is rapidly intensifying into a bomb cyclone, bringing heavy snow, strong winds, and bitter cold temps along the East Coast. CBS's Skylar Henry reports.
Here on Virginia Beach, they expect several inches of snow here, with much more inland. Officials that we have spoken with say that they anticipate temperatures not getting above freezing for days.
There's 3 of them actually still trapped on the road right now.
Sam Griffel lives in Richmond, where she's been watching cars struggle on the icy road outside her home.
With temps so low and more snow on the way, that is only expected to get worse. Gunfire rang out at a Mardi Gras parade near Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Sheriff Jeff Travis.
The parade did not get to Main Street before shots were fired. We had a lot of people here, a lot of law enforcement agencies here helping with the parade. There's still a whole lot that we don't know. There's a lot of moving parts.
At least 6 were injured. Several suspects are in custody. A federal judge has ordered the release of a 5-year-old boy and his father taken into custody after an ICE raid in Minnesota earlier this month. The judge said they must be freed while their asylum case moves forward. In Los Angeles, bicyclists held a memorial ride in honor of Alex Peretti, the man federal immigration agents shot and killed in Minneapolis. Damian Kevitt is with the Domestic Cycling Club.
What happened, in my opinion, was clearly a violation of his rights. And I am grateful that a civil rights investigation is finally being opened up by DOJ.
There's a new wave of airstrikes across the Gaza Strip. Reporter Linda Gradstein is in Jerusalem.
The flare-up in violence comes a day before Israel is set to reopen the Rafah crossing between Egypt and the Gaza Strip to pedestrian traffic Sunday. Israel said the incident began when 8 gunmen emerged from a tunnel in Rafah on the Israeli-controlled side of the border. Israel said it targeted Hamas and Islamic Jihad leaders in the airstrikes, but Hamas said a quarter of those killed were children. Israel and Hamas accused each other of violating the U.S. brokered ceasefire that is due to begin its second phase soon.
Hamas says at least 32 Palestinians were killed. This is CBS News.
Take control of your financial life. Follow and listen to Money Watch with Jill Schlesinger on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-793-9858. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-793-9858 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-793-9858 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-793-9858.
The first reviews are in for the documentary about First Lady Melania Trump.
Here we go again.
The film follows Mrs. Trump in the 20 days leading up to the president's inauguration day. Rotten Tomatoes gives the film a dismal rating of 8%. Most critics only give it 1 or 1.5 stars. The Daily Review calls the movie insipid propaganda and utterly pointless. The London Evening Standard gave Melania 3 stars out of 5, saying the First Lady gets across that there's human warmth under her cheekbones and slanting feline eyes.
Beautiful.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
German artist Benjamin Clapper was trying to break a Guinness World Record. He spent over a month constructing a tower with more than 63,000 beer coasters. It was on display at a shopping mall when a young girl pulled a single coaster out, sent the whole thing crashing down. He said it had already partially collapsed, so it never officially even qualified for the record. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
There could be a flurry around this evening, otherwise mostly cloudy and very cold tonight. We'll have a low of 1, and mostly cloudy and bitterly cold tomorrow, a high of 20, and then temperatures climb up to 25 Monday with sun and some clouds. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, going back to the phone lines. Bill in Latrobe. You're on KDK. Bill in Latrobe. You had a chance to be on KDK. If you call back at 866-391-1020, you might again have a chance to be on KDK. As with the rest of you, I'll give you the same opportunity. Why not? I'm in a generous mood. I'm in my happy place. And I still have not learned how to putt. But I digress. 866-391-1020. I do want to get into Minnesota, but also this whole situation with Don Lemon. I will go different places with you. You know, we're still dealing with Minnesota right after Venezuela, thousands of miles apart from each other, and now we're talking about Iran all over again. By the way, the Soviet Union, Russia, is still waging an energy war against Eastern Europe, i.e. Ukraine, by freezing them out, while fighting them, while being aggressive after taking land over 10 years ago. And by the way, the most aggressive action of one country taking over another country's land in Europe since literally the Cold War was a baby, World War II, roughly 80 years ago. But we're not even talking about that. So I'm willing to go different places with you because there's so much to talk about. And I'm just going to say this real quick. And Paul, I see you. Give me just a moment. And I do mean a very brief moment. There are people that will say, well, this is good for us in talk radio. There's a lot to talk about. No, as an American, I don't want that much to talk about. I can make something up like, I don't know, pop culture bingo. I'd rather do that than have everything up in the air in chaos and not have it land. Because for those of you that are saying, well, look at what President Trump has done with the economy, it's landing. It's not landing. We're not getting more peace. We're not getting closer together, i.e. what he said on election night. I'd rather have not as many things to talk about and have a higher level of peace. 866-391-1020. Paul in California. You're on KDK.
Yes. You know, one of the things that's most interesting to me about all this climate change stuff is North Dakota apparently has enough wind there in that state alone to power every house in the state of North Dakota, and plus apparently a lot of the houses in the United States. They have so much wind there. That's quite remarkable to me, and I'm impressed with North Dakota. But more importantly, Germany, in 2021, shut down all their nukes after they installed millions. They built millions of fourplex houses, each with 100 solar panels on the roof. So Germany, cloudy Germany, is going solar and shutting down the nukes. And to me, that is really, it was shocking to me because they shut down their last nuke on Earth Day 2021. And as one of the co-founders of Earth Day in 1968, I was so happy that Germany actually was able to shut down their last nukes because nukes, I don't think there's any future for nukes. There's no way to deal with the waste. The waste cannot, no matter what anybody says or does, there's nothing you can do to get rid of the waste from an atomic reactor. And what's weird in the world is China is going towards 100% solar power. They have bullet trains powered by solar panels all over China now, 100 different railroad lines across China, going north, south, east, and west. This is shocking that China is going towards 100% solar and wind. And you never see that in the news anywhere. As far as I know.
But they still do pollute an awful lot. And it's interesting because, you know, there's an old expression, show me what you spend your money on, I'll show you what you value. And if you look at what some of these other countries have been talking about, there is a smart investment. Now, part of it is with China, you look at the economic and political system, you know, you're going to have a lot more of a government hand in things than you will in the United States or other type of Western democracies, but I digress. You can see that there's a willingness to invest in infrastructure and the people. I mean, again, let's go back. One of the big things that was supposed to come out of Trump Part 1 was a big infrastructure push. Didn't really quite happen. Then you had COVID. You're supposed to have this huge infrastructure push from Biden, which did start, but still hasn't really cleaned up as much as we need to have cleaned up. And unlike, you know, China and some other countries that you mentioned, Paul, you have bridges falling in the United States where people are dying. We lucked up here when the bridge fell in 2022 that people didn't die. But that wasn't the case, ironically enough, in Minneapolis, when a part of their interstate collapsed several years ago. You know, part of the beauty of the American experiment, but also the challenge of the American experiment is the fact that you do have these 50 different incubators of ideas that are both economic as well as educational, entrepreneurial, and the like. The problem with that is if you don't have the right type of leadership to goose those processes along to kind of synchronize without forcing them to synchronize, you can have a level of disjointedness that impacts our competitiveness internationally. So then when people do travel, when people do invest, you have this whiplash type of impact. They look at the bullet trains in China, they look at Amtrak here in the United States, and they wonder what the heck is what is all this about? Is that fair?
Well, yeah, not only that, it's that all this solar, I drive a Tesla, if the truth is known. I drive a Tesla, not because I wanted to, but because my wife and I could afford to buy one for cash. And yes, we really wanted to buy a Tesla simply because, one, we didn't want to be polluting the air, and we were both driving cars. And so we got rid of 2 cars and bought one Tesla. And she really loves driving this Tesla. It's amazing. It's so easy to drive. And Norway, 90% of the people in Norway own a Tesla. So electric cars and solar is it's the future, and Americans need to realize that that's where the money is. And if you want to invest your money in America, invest in buying solar panels, invest in buying electric cars, even if you have to buy the solar panels from the cheapest source you can find, which is unfortunately probably China. I don't know why we can't manufacture them cheaper, but we're not.
Well, and Paul, I appreciate your call. Part of it is, again, show me what you spend your money on, I'll show you what you value. Back to the old expression. But on top of that, I do have to clarify this. America is a much different nation than most of the other nations that we could compare to when it comes to wind energy, solar energy, and the like. Even China, people forget China's still it's still a second world country, because as much as you have, urban centers that are huge in China, you also have a lot of very poor people in China, in desolate parts of China. Go look at China on a map. You could do the same thing in LA and New York, even though I wouldn't compare bullet trains to like the New York subway system. Don't get me wrong. Pizza Rat, and it's not quite the same as what you have in bullet trains, but digressing. There is a huge disparity in China, and part of that is because the government there has a much bigger hand in what transpires with the economy, what transpires in the politics, what transpires in their provinces. So yes, there are some technological advances that they get the benefit from at the cost of some freedoms. Now, I say this facetiously, but maybe not. Some of you all seem to be inclined to want to give up your freedoms now based on, who you like in particular offices, whether it's local, state, federal. Because there are some of you that will sit there and look at the Trump folks and say, you all give up your rights, and then you're doing the same thing with local people, just on the far left. And will work against common sense in many of the same ways and call it freedom. It's like, you both don't get it. But that said, because America, which by the way is still the 3rd largest country in the world by populace, is still a pretty large landmass overall, and has a wide diversity of needs based on different regions of the country and the like. You start talking about Norway, we're not talking about, 4 or 5 different types of weather in one day. Quite the same way you do over the United States of America, from literally Seattle, Washington to Key West, and all points in between. So your energy policy, your energy approach, and your ability to keep yourself safe and competitive, militarily and economically, has to shift towards the future, but also never, never, never leave a flank vulnerable. 866-391-1020. Coming back, Gary and others after the break on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKARadio.com.
Warm up your home this winter with a brand new roof from Home Genius Exteriors. Call now and get 50% off all roofing materials plus 0% APR and no payments till 2027. And for a limited time, you can get free attic insulation. Call Home Genius Exteriors now at 855-UR-GENIUS for your free, no obligation roof and attic inspection. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. Home Genius Exteriors, the genius choice in roofing. See website for details.
As veterans, we've dealt with noise. From chains clanking as they're clamped onto cargo, to orders coming down the chain of command. We can handle that kind of noise. Back home, the noise is different. Seems like everyone's talking all at once and over each other because they just want to be heard. They're taking selfies and oversharing. But we know that it's not about hearing. It's about listening. Listening to what's actually happening with our fellow veterans. Understanding each other because we share the same experiences, the same vocabulary, following the same paths that others have walked. If only we can pick up the trail. Make the Connection is a place for veterans to hear stories from other veterans. Listen and learn about why you're not alone at maketheconnection.net.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at KennyRoss.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Where Pittsburgh comes to talk. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Gary in Hampton, you're on KDKA.
Can you hear me?
I can, sir.
Okay. Let's start with this. As far as separating people and so on and so forth. I've been a Yankee for 70 years. I was born and raised in Holland. Came over here when I was 15 years old. I'm 85 now. I don't have a box. I refuse to be in there with blinders on. I like to research the far left, the far right, the center, so I understand subjects which are heavy duty with respect to politics, religion, and so on. I've been saying for years, I'm not a Dutch American. I'm an American, damn it. Let's drop the surnames, call one another Americans, and approach one another honestly to where we have real conversations regarding anything rather than shutting each other down because of politics or whatever.
Gary, I appreciate that, and I commend that, and I believe in that 100%. But pragmatically speaking, we know that throughout the history of America that some people can't do that based on how they look, and that we've written laws that have shielded some Americans from money, education, jobs, where they can live, where they can sit on buses, where they can drink water out of a water fountain, and everything else, who they can even marry, have been written based on how people look. So to sit there and say, hey, let's just drop all the... And I used to have this conversation with an activist, may his soul rest in peace, many, many years ago. He would talk about, I'm an unhyphenated American, and I would say, okay, you're still black. And the bottom line is, because we haven't fixed that, there's something to be dealt with that. To me, I've always taken the impression of, I don't mind people celebrating who they are in the richness of the diversity while also claiming first and foremost being an American. But as long, Gary,
I agree with you.
And I'm there with you as well, but as long as we have a society that does not do that as well, it is very hard to tell a certain segment of people, do not embrace that part that makes you unique, especially when that uniqueness also oftentimes shoves you towards the periphery of a society that claims that you're equal. I mean, that's the conundrum that we're still fighting as Americans, unfortunately.
Exactly. May I address the power situation for a moment?
Yes, you may, kind sir.
Okay. Korea has long been far ahead of most of the world, matter of fact, as far as nuclear energy. Okay? Matter of fact, they sold their expertise to France. France is one nation that 60% produces their power from nuclear reactors. Okay, 60%. That's quite a bit. The other point is that the gentleman forgot to say that most of the windmills and the power panels come from China, and we pay through the nose for them. They love us to use them because they're getting higher and higher. And the reason is, when you go up, they started with like 160, now they're 230 feet high to catch the more powerful winds, which makes sense. Yeah. However, it's the most inefficient way to, especially in cold climates, most inefficient way to produce power. The reason is those turbines and so on, guess what? It's already happened many times in Houston and Texas and so on.
And they had a major, and to your point, Gary, they had a major energy crisis during a big freeze where people went without heat and electricity because of a historic freeze that came through the region. That was only about 5 years ago. I think that was maybe 2021. That wasn't that long ago. So to your point, exactly, you could put those wind farms up, and I appreciate your phone call. You be safe and have a wonderful weekend. You could put those wind farms up, and I am not against green energy. What I do believe, however, is that there needs to be a sensible way to integrate new ways of doing energy. And I think too often there's an inclination to say we need to shift over immediately. I mean, again, people remember the Biden mandate in regards to the cars. That got rolled back once Trump came in. The United States is a different entity because of our military presence, our economic presence, the amount of people we have living here, and the different type of needs across a very diverse people and topography. Now, do I feel like some people have just kind of buried their heads in the sand? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think some people apply their reality to everybody else? Like, you can't live the way you do in North Dakota like you do in New York and vice versa. And I will tell you this all the time. I always hear this argument from people when it comes to, not as much anymore because there have been so many other things that have come up, but people used to do this with the gun argument, where they would say, I don't need X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And I'm like, you live in Brooklyn. You live in Queens. You live in, fill in the blank city. You're in East Detroit. No, you don't need weaponry the same way. And then I would ask a question, and I get it. Not everybody needs an AK. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, I would ask people, they would say, that whole fallacy of, the police aren't coming, so you got to protect yourself. I'm like, have you ever been to a rural community in, I don't know, rural Illinois, rural Pennsylvania, rural Ohio. You don't even have to go to like North Dakota, rural Minnesota, rural Montana. You don't have to go there. Have you been to a rural part of your own state? No. Do you realize that some of the police departments would take 15, 20 minutes to get to you? And if you're sitting there with 3 kids under 5 and your wife doesn't shoot a gun very well when she's 5'2" at 95 pounds, even with a big dog in the house, you might need a little something to keep your family safe. Well, you only need it's like, okay, what happens if it's 2 people? What happens if it's 3 people? That wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen until it does happen. All my point would be with them is, whether it's energy or, in this instance, the gun debate, you cannot take one experience in America and homogenize it. We've always gotten in trouble when that transpires in this country. Race, culture, living conditions, etc. never works. This is why this democracy is supposed to go back and forth and debate ideas and find out ways to bring about the greatest good for the greatest amount of people and then continue to try to be a more perfect union. It's not supposed to be rhetoric. It's not supposed to be stuff that we say in a speech and that's it. It has to be practiced in the halls of government, in our communities, with the people we represent. 866-391-1020. Craig in West Virginia. My man, to quote Marty Griffin. I'll get to you after the news on News Radio KDKA.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slap shot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan. Morgan & Morgan. Proud sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Offices Pittsburgh.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm with Joe Potocznik, JP Roofing and Siding. Congratulations, Joe. Triple Crown winner from Owens Corning.
Yes, Larry. We are proud to announce that we are recognized for service excellence, product excellence, and MVP based on marketing leadership and customer service.
Call Joe and his team. You'll get the best of the best. Get a free estimate for roof and siding replacements. Call the roofing replacement experts at JP Roofing and Siding, 412-829-7711. Congrats, Joe.
Thank you, Larry.
Retirement. It's almost here. Are you ready? Well, join Kurt Kanodik and Ethan Lane of Accurate Solutions Group for your retirement blueprint. Let Kurt and Ethan help you plan for your retirement dreams. Don't miss your retirement blueprint Sundays at 10. Investment advisory services offered through ASG Investment Management, LLC.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020.
The Coast Guard has suspended the search for the missing crew of a fishing boat off the coast of Massachusetts. State Senator Bruce Tarr says the boat's emergency beacon activated yesterday.
That beacon is not activated necessarily by a human action. It is programmed to activate automatically when it senses water.
One body was recovered. Millions along the East Coast are dealing with extreme cold, snow, and hazardous conditions. CBS's Skylar Henry in Virginia Beach.
City officials saying that they are taking the necessary steps to make sure that people are as safe as possible, but they're also urging travelers to stay off the roads as well, concerned about visibility and slick roads.
A memorial ride was held in L.A. in honor of the man immigration agents shot and killed in Minneapolis. Damian Kevitt took part.
There are tens of thousands of cyclists that are doing the exact same thing all over the world in solidarity.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
Friends, this is Rob Pratt, joined again by John Diagardi of Rome Monuments. John, we've talked a lot about how families should take some time to mourn before selecting a monument. So why do so many people still rush into it?
Well, we're hearing that some folks are under the false impression that they have to buy a monument right away, and even that they have to buy it directly from the cemetery if they want to make sure it will be protected.
And that's just not the case, right?
Not at all, Rob. Rome can design and install a memorial in any cemetery, and no matter which cemetery you choose, our total protection warranty will always remain in effect.
So basically, people should never be pressured into choosing a memorial right away and are never required to buy it from the cemetery.
That's right, Rob.
Thanks so much, John. And folks, you can learn more at RomeMonuments.com or visit one of their 9 area showrooms.
Brian Schlaba here from the Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, born and raised right here. Since 2015, we've helped over 1,000 Pittsburgh homeowners sell their houses quickly and without the stress. No repairs, cleanouts, inspections, or appraisals. We give fast and fair cash offers, buy your home as is, and you choose the closing day. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057. That's 412-500-9057.
Pittsburgh's local trusted home buyer since 2015.
At UPMC Hillman Cancer Center, we believe cancer care shouldn't just be good enough. It should be life-changing. As the region's only National Cancer Institute designated comprehensive cancer center, we provide groundbreaking treatments and innovative clinical trials with renowned cancer specialists and a compassionate support system for patients and their families. Discover more at upmchillman.com/lifechanging.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
Get ready to party like it's 1999 when Marshall Charloff and the Purple Experience take the stage at Rivers Casino. Live from the Event Center on Thursday, March 12th. The most celebrated tribute to Prince of the world. This show is sure to have you singing and dancing all night long. Head to riverscasino.com for tickets and join us for a night of greatest hits that'll leave you wanting more.
Think back to the last time you were in nature. What comes to mind? Hiking through a lush forest, floating on a lazy river, or perhaps watching a vibrant sunset on a beach full of glistening plastic bottles and food wrappers. Unfortunately, this isn't a joke. Here in the U.S., we generate the most plastic waste in the world, with 70% of it ending up in landfills. And by the time you're done listening to this ad, more than a dump truck's worth of plastic will have made it into the ocean. Plastic has become a useful part of our everyday lives, but it's polluting the air, water, and soil that all life needs to survive. This is a human problem that can be solved with human action. But it's going to take all of us, from individuals to businesses to governments and everyone in between. Help create a cleaner future for both people and nature. Visit wwf.earth/plastics.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Very cold again tonight, maybe an early flurry, otherwise mostly cloudy, a low of 1. Mostly cloudy, a bitterly cold day tomorrow, high near 20. Still frigid tomorrow night with clouds at a low of 4. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, I'll catch you on Monday. Hope you're having a great weekend. Colin Dunlap, hopefully you survive through this weekend. It's going to be bitter cold right now. Talk to you on Monday, 2 to 6 right here, KDK.
All right, I'm going to go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. I haven't had a chance to dive into Don Lemon and a whole situation with that yet, but I will. Tomorrow is the beginning of Black History Month, which is either going to make some of you all, understand why, it will be coming up, at least on this show. It will be coming up on the Chris Moore show as well. I can almost assure you that. But also, this is an interesting time to have Black History Month. Because it wasn't that long ago, and again, the flurry of things that transpire, some people think it's really cool for business, quote unquote. I love the country more. I love you all more than I love, quote unquote, business. But it wasn't that long ago where Donald Trump said that white people were hurt very badly by affirmative action, almost as if to justify why he was stopping DEI initiatives, because white people were hurt, as if the whole purpose of said initiatives were because minorities were hurt for decades upon decades prior to that. So to have a Black History, and look, that statement's going to come back up starting tomorrow. Not necessarily here, but you will hear it in the news. That New York Times interview, that quote will come up. And by the way, that is an argument that has been made by people that are supposed to be in the know, who, by the way, are individuals that are policymakers. As if, and I'll dive into that in a second, because there are places to go with that. But it's as if people are just completely oblivious to history. Or they want us to be oblivious to history. Gaslighting Willie Loman. Anywho, 866-391-1020. Craig in West Virginia, you're on KDK.
How you doing tonight, Lenny?
I am doing well, child of God. How are you?
Doing pretty good, staying warm. Watching a little basketball, got it on mute, listening. I was so glad to hear you come on. I had no idea who was going to fill in tonight, but glad to hear you on.
Thank you.
I want to, I guess, a little rebuttal on what Gary was talking about with the wind energy. In reality, that's not really true what was said. Yes, what happened in Texas, we all saw it. But there is also a windmill, those same windmills, that if you put in an antifreeze system, they do not freeze up, which did take place after that catastrophe down there. And the funny thing of it is the guy that got the contract was the largest donor to the Governor Abbott campaign.
I was going to say, probably had a political tie.
Imagine that. And, here's the thing. There is one state in the nation that their energy costs went down, and that is Kansas. And how did that happen? They are the only state that has above 50% of green energy, which is that they're running on solar, wind, and hydro. And just to get off of this subject, I'm going to leave it with this. There's a difference between global warming and climate change. That's one thing that people got to realize. And if you read into it, you understand the difference of it, the callers calling in. Now, the main reason I'm calling tonight is because I want to talk about what took place down in Georgia and Donald Trump a third time saying maybe we don't need a midterm election.
And so, sending Tulsi Gabbard down to Georgia, which is what you're alluding to. Go ahead. Over the 2020 election, by the way, which is 6 years ago. But continue.
And I guarantee that there are times that I call in and they're on the right. They think I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. I get that. But if you just connect the dots, Tulsi Gabbard, that's the thing. They're going to start talking about other countries interfering in the 2020 election. And there were 4 recounts down there, one by hand, with Democrats and Republicans sitting there counting vote after vote after vote. And I think that the Heritage Foundation is in panic mode right now. And why that is because, and I believe this 100%, that Donald Trump does not plan on leaving office. But for that to happen, he has to have some type of police force behind him, or military military, police, whatever the case may be. And they know that there are as many Democrats in the military as there are Republicans. So that's why this huge campaign for Homeland Security is happening with the border security and ICE, the $50,000 bonuses. I don't know a Democrat right now in my circle that would go down to be an ICE agent. But I know 30 Republicans that would do it in a drop of a hat. So that's going to be the force behind him. And if you count the numbers, ICE and the Border Patrol are more people than in our military. So listen, people can joke about it.
But here's the thing with that, Craig. I'm gonna short circuit that immediately. There's an automatic assumption in your theory that those individuals love a politician more than they love America. That they, again, my theme song, the March of the Black Republican says, change that we can believe in, but it'll never come from a politician or a government program. Those individuals do not believe in politicians more than they believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in a program such as, for example, keeping the border secure or immigration reform more than they believe in the Constitution. So there should not be an assumption that even if everybody that rushes into DHS all of a sudden is a Republican, that it automatically means they're going to turn off brains, they're going to forget everything they learned about civics, they're going to forget about their oath, and they're going to do whatever Donald Trump says. Or any politician, because that's just that's insulting the soldier, because they understand that they're taking an oath to the credo of this country by way of an oath to the Constitution, not to any political leader, because we're not run by politics. We're run by a constitutional republic.
I get that, Lenny, and granted, I painted with a broad brush right there, but I'm telling you, those 30 million guaranteed MAGA, I am telling you, that is a force of nature. And then you have, those are the ones that are going down to become the ICE agents, the Border Patrol. So listen, we're only 330 million people. You got 30 million people that are armed with that attitude. We saw it January 6th. You know, you hear the rhetoric on the calls at KDKA for the last 10 years. I'm telling you, people need to wake up and start understanding what can they prove by taking those election ballots from Georgia other than causing chaos? They never dreamt in a million years that the pushback in Minnesota was going to happen the way it did. And it's happening everywhere. You know, look at the marches just yesterday. Millions of people, and that has the Heritage Foundation in straight panic mode. You know.
And let me say this, but I'm sure it's going to make your head explode. I apologize for that, Craig, but I was just on a Heritage. I
love arguing with you. I do. Not arguing, but debating.
I was just on a Heritage Foundation call this week. They are not focused on electoral type of things the way you might think. They're not, at least the call that I was on. They weren't focused on that at all. I will say this. Anybody that's been paying attention, anybody that was around in 2020, if they thought that the level of protests in Minneapolis and other places is shocking, they didn't pay attention 6 years ago. They didn't pay attention to Ferguson. They didn't pay attention to the whole situation around Trayvon Martin. You know, this country has been getting back out in the streets and marching and protesting for 10 years now, which, by the way, ironically enough, that led to the whole rally in January 6th. The whole Tea Party thing was nothing but a bunch of rallies all over the place. Americans have been getting in the streets from all different creeds and backgrounds over the last, probably, if you really break it on down, the Tea Party started in 2009. Obama getting elected in 2008 was a big movement in and of itself. This has been going on for 20 years. Seeing shifts in the streets should not be a shock to anybody as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know, like I told Bartley the other night, is that, you know, everybody kept saying, what is this rally yesterday going to prove? You know, what it's going to prove is that there is a segment of this country that is not going to allow, people want to call it an autocracy. I think it's a theocracy. These people believe, you know, if you listen to Rob Pratt's show in Saturday, Sunday morning, they compare Trump to Jesus coming to save us 3 calls a morning on Saturday, 3 calls a morning on Sunday. This is not an autocracy. This is a theocracy. Trump don't realize that, but these people believe that he is here to save the country and to save them. That's the scary part about it. But when you start seeing people shot like that gentleman, that is literally crazy town in this country. And listen, this whole Georgia raid, it has to do with the midterms. That's my belief, and I can connect the dots. But I'm going to leave you with this, and you can take other callers. I'm glad you brought up Black History Month, and the Trump administration getting rid of DEI. Their main goal is you got to be able to reap your rewards from what your merits are. Well, we have a black president who his merits awarded him a Nobel Peace Prize. You got Donald Trump, that his merits. He had to take
you ran through a stop sign there. What? And this is the argument that came up in 2009. I understand that getting elected as the first black president was significant. I'm not discounting that. But there would be
or
it's definitely unprecedented because it didn't happen before. But there would be people that would say he got a Nobel Peace Prize for that, which generally goes to creating conditions of peace. I mean, he got it, and then he went on his tour to the Middle East and everything else. And he was found wanting in a lot of different things, including with the situation in Syria, including with what transpired with the Crimea. He was known as a deporter-in-chief. So, I mean, he kind of got a peace prize, kind of, cart before the horse, some would say.
Well, I will tell you this.
Then I got to let you go.
When you look at the vote in Crimea, whether they wanted to leave the USSR or not, only 40% of the people did not want to leave the USSR.
Yeah,
so
but they also had and Craig, I got to let you go on this because I got to go to break and get other callers. They also had masked. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Masked, unnamed soldiers without badges on, just rolling around eastern Ukraine and the Crimea for a year to 2 years before that vote. People forget that. There were multiple documented reports of who are these people. They claim they're soldiers. They won't show their faces. They don't have name tags on. They have no identification. And when you ask them, they claim that they're Ukrainian, except the fact that they're not Ukrainian. Go look up 2012, 2013, 2014 before the Crimea vote. Again, receipts are a very terrible thing to have sometimes. 866-391-1020, Dick and TJ. I'll get to you after the break on News Radio KDKA.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company, larger than light, and brought to you by Butler Transit Authority. Online and on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Every family vacation looks different. Maybe this year it's ocean waves in Myrtle Beach. Maybe it's lake mornings in Deep Creek. Maybe it's palm trees and turquoise water in St. Thomas. Wherever your next memory takes you, SWAC Vacation Rentals has the space, comfort, and experiences that bring everybody together. And when you book direct, you get the best homes at the best price without the extra fees. Start planning your next trip at SWAC, SWACK vacations.com. That's SWACvacations.com.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you, too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula? No.
Coffee? No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo? Absolutely not.
Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market team when they discuss delicious recipes utilizing leftovers. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Dick and Dayton, you're on KDKA.
Hey, Lenny, how you doing, buddy?
How are you doing, sir? How much snow did you have people shovel for you?
God. Oh, in this area here, we have had a standstill. This has most been a week. I got out Wednesday to take a class, but it was like we had drifts. You couldn't even get out. It was so high. Pretty bad, but I went Wednesday. But you were talking about history, somebody that I always thought that I would admire for what he did. I think it's nice that we salute Martin Luther King Day. I really do, you know?
Yeah, I would say he has to be on the top 5 list of most influential Americans of the 20th century. And when I say that, I probably go to, people aren't going to necessarily like this, but FDR has to be on that list. JFK has to.
Yeah, JFK, definitely.
Well, maybe not JFK. MLK is what I meant to say. MLK, FDR. I think because of the Cold War ending under Reagan, you got to put Reagan on that list. I would say that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Helped end World War II and then was a 2-term president. That's 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to beg off the rest from there because, I mean, now you could start talking about business people where you can go everywhere from Gates to maybe not Jobs, but Jobs, Gates, Rockefeller, Carnegie, J.P. Morgan. Even though you go to the earlier part of the 20th century, you're kind of going late 19th and 20th, especially with people like Rockefeller and Carnegie. So it's kind of weird with that. But yeah, that it's a very short list, and MLK's on it. And for people that would say, well, why don't you have an Eisenhower holiday? How come you don't have an FDR holiday? You do. It's called President's plural Day. They get celebrated there.
We have this teacher that's pretty good. She's teaching the different type. It's like history through she uses slides, and she was talking about various things about, she mentioned Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, and she went through these terms and everything. It was really good. She went to Miami, and we have 5 of us, and it's good. She talks about how we need to, we always do. I always do homework for her and, get some good thoughts out. But you got a great show, buddy. It was great. Have a good night.
Dick from Dayton, you have a wonderful night. You be safe out there. God bless. 866-391-1020. Now, TJ and Carrick, I am not taking your phone call right now because I shall not. I will not. I refuse to be accused of picking you up on the phone line here at 866-391-1020 and then telling you within 45 seconds I got to let you go. I shall not. I will not be trapped. I will not fall prey to that. I will take the phone call after the news. I will take you first. Those calling in after TJ at 866-391-1020, I will take your phone calls as well. But TJ's first. I love everybody that calls in here, regardless of what people think. I know people think that when I say, hey, I love y'all, have a good night, TCNGB, take care and God bless, they think it's like a script. It's something that I just say because I'm, it's witty, it's charming, whatever. No, I genuinely mean that. Doesn't mean I agree with people on positions, but again, I think that I have shown over time that we can find common ground. We as in Americans, you and me talking. So I try my best. Now, I will say this, that I'm going to news, that I'm coming back, I'm getting TJ and others 866-391-1020. I do try my best to provide the platform. I always just say, look, come with facts, put it together. We can debate facts. We can even debate opinions, I guess, but once we start calling opinions facts, it's like, is 2 really 2? Well, in absolute math, and no. In physics, if you boil it at this temperature, and no. 2 is 2. So, that's it. 866-391-1020. Going to the news. Coming back after the news for hour number 3. Jump into the phone lines. I'll catch you on the other side on the award-winning News Radio KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Time is now as people want to get their tax situation squared away. It's Cole, Benoni, Wilson.
So many changes. Even the tax professionals were double-checking the rules. There's dozens. You're seeing them, like you said, on the federal and state-by-state adjustments, inflation updates.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues. Live from Australia. Featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski.
He is an animal.
Defends his belt at home in an explosive rematch against Diego Lopez.
You gotta be kidding me!
And the always dangerous Dan Hooker. Throws down with powerhouse Benoit Saint-Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown.
There's never been anything like this.
UFC 325, Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Larry Richard for CertaPro Painters. I've been a customer for over a decade. Why? Because the professional work CertaPro Painters does protects your home, quality paint, worry-free process, free estimates. That's why I've relied on CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn in Washington, where a partial government shutdown will stretch until the House votes on the Senate-passed funding package. It needs to clear the House Rules Committee first. They'll take it up Monday afternoon. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns with what both sides are demanding.
Democrats want to end roving patrols of immigration enforcement agents, tighten the rules around warrants, institute a uniform code of conduct, and require federal agents to wear body cameras and ban face coverings. But Republicans have legislative demands of their own.
I'm willing to entertain some reforms, but the cancer that we're dealing with is sanctuary city policy.
Now to the extreme cold temps along the East Coast, even impacting Florida.
I'm Peter King in Orlando. The temperature is expected to bottom out here at about 25 degrees overnight. That's the coldest it's been here since December of 2010. And people are taking precautions. I'm looking at my neighbors' homes, and they have already covered their plants out in front of their homes with sheets, towels, pillowcases, whatever, to keep them from freezing and from dying. Other people have taken their most tender plants indoors.
Authorities in Las Vegas found a possible biological laboratory inside a home. Sheriff Kevin McCahill.
Our teams went inside and found evidence of possible biological material, including refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids.
He says hazmat teams are working to safely remove the materials. One person is in custody. Lawmakers in Iowa are considering a bill that would make torturing an animal a felony. KCCI TV's Abigail Curtin reports.
In 2025, Iowa ranked in the bottom 5 states for animal protection laws, according to the Animal Legal Defense Fund. But Colvin says the tides are changing among Iowans.
People are just tired of it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to have it go on.
Meaning he's hopeful that after years of failing in the legislature, this will be the year to protect those animals in need.
The Coast Guard has suspended a search for the missing crew of a fishing boat that sank off the coast of Massachusetts. Vito Giacaloni's with the Northeast Seafood Coalition.
There are people on this boat that I've known for years that I felt like brothers. And it's so hard on the community.
Rescuers found a debris field nearby. They recovered the body of one of the crew members. 6, though, are still missing. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to the official 48 Hours After Show post-mortem on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-793-9858. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-793-9858 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-793-9858 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-793-9858.
There's a father-daughter team from Maryland up for a Grammy Award tomorrow on CBS.
Hey, Aura, do you know what harmony is?
Kinda. Harold Simmons, who performs as Fuchs, and his 8-year-old daughter, Aura, are nominated for a Grammy for Best Children's Music Album.
Harmony is when you play 2 or more notes together and they sound really good. And in life, harmony is when we live together and work together peacefully.
Which goes something like this.
I'm gonna sing la, and I want you to sing la. Let's try that together. La.
Their album is one of 5 nominated in the category.
Look at how our colors blend.
Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
And ahead of the Grammys, Mariah Carey's been honored as Music Care's Person of the Year for her musical achievements and philanthropy. Foo Fighters, Jennifer Hudson, and John Legend were among those who paid tribute to her last night. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
There could be a flurry around this evening, otherwise mostly cloudy and very cold tonight. We'll have a low of 1, and mostly cloudy and bitterly cold tomorrow, a high of 20, and then temperatures climb up to 25 Monday with sun and some clouds. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Alrighty, I'm here until 9 o'clock. Filling in tonight, 866-391-1020. Jumping back to the phone lines. TJ and Carrick, you are on KDK.
Hey, Lenny, I wanted to tell you what you're seeing going on with Trump and the whole country. This is what we call as MAGA. This is what we call taking our country back. So everybody was wondering what
taking it back from. Hold on, taking it back from what is what everybody asks when they hear that phrase. And I say that too. And I say that. And by the way, TJ, I say that as somebody that used to do tea parties, and I could define what taking the country back meant when I used the phrase 16 years ago. What do you mean by it?
I mean, we're taking it off of the Democrat Party. We're taking our country back from the Democrat Party and what they did to this country. since Barack Obama was president. You'll take me off the air if I start saying that, but everybody can say anything they want about Trump. But as soon as you say something about Barack,
First of all, TJ, I literally waited until after the news to give you a platform, and now you're accusing me of taking you off the air when you're still on the air.
Okay, well, I didn't finish that one. I believe everything that's happening bad in America all started with Barack Obama. You might disagree with that. That's fine.
Tell me why, because he didn't start the Great Recession. That happened under Bush. The Great Recession
he said
happened
it in his own voice. I'll never forget a lot of things that happened with Barack Obama. That's why he gave us Donald Trump. Barack Obama
did do that. He did do that. There was a backlash to Barack Obama that led to Donald Trump. I will not deny that. But you have to explain to me. Hold on. Because you skip around. That's the one thing I love and can't stand about you, TJ, is the fact that you love to skip around.
You do the same thing.
No, but I tie things together. I leave breadcrumbs. You leave us starving. So what I'm asking you is, you said that everything went bad under Barack Obama. It started with Barack Obama going bad. And I said, like what? For example, the Great Recession started under Bush. I want to hear a couple of examples of what went, to hell in a handbasket under Barack Obama. That started with him, because the point you made was it started with him. So I want to hear what that means.
Everybody and all the Republicans and all of MAGA knows themselves where this America was great, and then we got Barack Obama.
TJ, you don't get
TJ.
He
even admit. I'm going to tell you. He even said in his own voice in his speech these very words, and you can't deny it, and everybody will always remember it. But whenever he said, "We're only 5 days from fundamentally transforming the United States of America," do you remember that? And I thought to myself, when he said that, Lenny, when Barack said that, what did you say to yourself? I remember what I said to myself all those years ago. What the hell is this guy talking about?
Well, you want me to? Would you like me to? TJ, child of the living God, child of the living God. You throw something out there, I try to answer, you keep talking. Now, if we're going to do word salad, I will let you go. Now, I'm about to bring you back on the air. You throw something out there, I'd like to retort and go back and forth. Can we play nice together in this sandbox?
Yeah, real quick.
Okay. No.
We're talking about
But you asked a question. You asked me a question. You said, what do I think he meant when he said, in 5 days, we're going to fundamentally transform the United States of America? You asked it, then you kept talking over me. I'm going to tell you what a lot of people... Let me answer the question.
What was it? What did you get from it?
Number one, first and foremost, nobody even thought that a black man would even be a nominee for president from a general party, much less be ahead of the polls, much less be in position to become the president of the United States. That is a transformative situation that did end up happening in November of 2008. And I will even take it one step further and tie it together, because, again, you say I jump around, but watch how I leave these breadcrumbs for you, and I'm going to quote you. He not only transformed the United States of America by becoming the first African-American president in 2008, he led to He led to a transformation of America, because he also led to the rise of Donald Trump, which has transformed America in a different type of way just 8 years later. You like how I did that? I tied the two narratives together. That's what you call, facetiously, but maybe not, radio talent. TJ, continue, please.
Okay, real quick. Barack Obama, he deported, I think he deported twice as many as people as Trump so far, right? He deported a lot.
He deported a lot of people. The deporter in chief was one of his nicknames that the Democrats did not like, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we called him the Great Divider also. We call him the Great Divider.
Well, you called him hold on. You called him the Great... A lot of people called him the Great Divider because there were a lot of people, and I was at those two parties as well. I saw some of the signs that were at those tea parties, and the division was less about his politics with some folks than it was about his race. Now, where do we talk about the, what?
Yeah, I
was out
MAGA
there,
does not look at a
TJ.
person's skin color.
TJ,
We have quality black folks in the
listen, I can care less about the quality black folks in the because they some of those folks were co-signing on that stuff. I still remember having a radio show in Chicago where I literally undressed a black conservative because he had the hold on, TJ, you keep talking over me. I'm going to put you on pause one more time, then I'm going to let you go. You bring this up. You said, well, we got black folks in our group. I literally had to undress a black conservative for having the audacity to be disrespectful to the first African-American First Lady of the United States. And so don't tell me about all the black conservatives that don't seem to have a whole lot of respect for the black community. Because I guarantee you, after I take you off pause, you're going to tell me something about Candace Owens. Well, you know, Candace Owens, go ahead. It's your turn. It's right in the script. Tell me about Candace Owens.
I got to finish up with this, though. If I can finish up with anything, it would be this. So Barack Obama deported. Where was all these protesters at? How come there was no protests at all anywhere to be? You didn't hear anything on the news when Barack Obama was deporting all these.
You want to know why?
But now the Trump is. Let me just say it.
No.
Where were all these people? That's why we know it's not organic, man. It's George Soros doing this.
TJ, you want me to answer your question?
You're killing me.
You're not listening.
Unbelievable.
TJ,
no protesters.
TJ.
No
I can't do that anymore. I love you as a child of God. I really do. But you just are going to just yell through it. You ask a question to keep going. I would hate to drive with you because I don't think you believe in stop signs, red lights, or anything else. Yield signs, nothing. Just vroom. Which, by the way, seems to also be some of the attitudes of some people in America these days. They don't want to share the road. So let me answer your question. Why weren't the protests the same exact way with Obama like it was with Trump? Because Obama didn't take DHS and ICE and militarize them in certain cities. He wasn't snatching people up that were American citizens in constant controversy. But let me go to a Democrat where there was a whole big controversy over immigration. Does anybody remember Elian Hernandez down in Florida? His dad was Cuban, his mother was Cuban, but came to the United States. His dad had custodial rights. They literally snatched that kid out of a closet to take him back to Cuba. There were protests everywhere. And that was, quote unquote, the first black president. That was Bill Clinton's nickname at the time. There was a lot of protest over that. But there's something transformatively different about how this is going down. And yes, let's just be clear. TJ, and again, if you were inclined to go back and forth, we could have this type of conversation. When you're telling me that you see this as this is us taking our country back, and the very first thing that comes out of this administration's mouth collectively is shooting down all the DEI, then I have to ask myself, well, what do you mean by taking your country back? Taking it back to what? When I have a commander-in-chief that says the civil rights movement hurt a lot of white people. And then you go back and you look at all the rolling back of those initiatives. The attack of the 1964 Civil Rights Act in January of last year. See, here's the thing. And TJ, I wish you were still on the line. There is a tendency for people to say they want to take America back, and they don't want to talk about back to what. There is a tendency to say we believe in equality, but I wanted to go back to 1944 without realizing that inequality was literally the law in the military while we were fighting a world war and through most cities and towns throughout the United States of America. From where you can buy property to where you can use the restroom. So if you're talking about taking it back to that, no thank you. Now, are you talking about elevating the country? I'm down for that. I can do that with anybody, anywhere. But that entails a belief in America that a lot of people in America just don't have anymore. Not for all Americans. And that's the reason why people are on the streets in Minneapolis. They're on the streets in Chicago. They're on the streets in other places throughout the country. Now, I can have this debate with love and with grace and with facts, but there seems to be a willingness to want to just gaslight or cast aside certain principal facts about where we are and how we got here. Now, anybody that's ever seen me write anything over the last 15 to 20 years, heard me on any type of television clip, locally, nationally, or internationally, or heard any of my radio shows here on News Radio KDKA, Part 1 and Part 2, or in Chicago knows that it's not like I didn't criticize President Obama on policies. I guess those shovel-ready jobs weren't as shovel-ready as I thought they were. Was an Obama quote when jobs didn't come back during the Great Recession. After he promised that those jobs would come back after the goosing of all the different spending bills that came out in 2009. It was a misquote. He shouldn't have said it. It wasn't a misquote. He shouldn't have said it. And it was indicative of where things were going into the 2010 midterms, which the Democrats got shellacked, and they should have. They talked about transparency, and then when they did the Obamacare bill, you had Cornhusker kickback and Gatorade. They were cutting deals with each other. We're going to get rid of pork barrel-style politics until it came to Obamacare, and they went right back to pork barrel-style politics. And they should have gotten slammed on it, and I wrote about it. President Obama spent a lot of money on cash for clunkers and everything else, and then cut money to HBCUs to the point where they had furloughs in 2009 and said, well, there's austerity times. We all got to cut back. Did you say that to other special interest groups? No, we didn't. And I brought that up, and I wrote about it. There are receipts, TJ and others, at 866-391-1020. Go look for them. But it's a fair critique. When he did things well, I will say that. There are things that I think Trump did well, part one. There are policies that I supported. A lot of the school choice stuff I have been in support of. In fact, some of you all may not realize this. I did go to the Trump White House and worked on policy issues. As a consultant, I did not meet with President Trump. This is part one, definitely not part two. And worked on issues with the economy, with education. There was a point of time where the Bush, again, did the wrong one, where the Trump White House was trying to work with HBCUs as incubators for innovation. You wouldn't imagine that now with this DEI initiative from last year, but that did happen during part one. And I was there and I saw it. Receipts are aplenty. They're falling out of my pockets. And they're falling onto the internet. Go look for them. 866-391-1020. Am I mad? No. I'm just reflecting. Come back after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Here's the tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell Good RX wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8 year old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month. Then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-793-9858. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-793-9858 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-793-9858 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-793-9858.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Running a small business is a daily balancing act. One late shipment, one price hike, one employee issue, and your whole month, maybe the entire year, could be in trouble. That's where LendSeek comes in.
I needed $100,000 fast to keep up with inventory demands. LendSeek had me funded the same day I applied. Between their AI platform finding the fastest deal and a dedicated funding specialist guiding the process, it couldn't have been easier.
Our AI-driven platform matches your business with the right program from over 100 funders, up to $2 million in as fast as 24 hours. Don't wait until it's too late. If you've been in business at least 2 years with more than $500,000 in annual revenue, qualifying is simple. No collateral, no out-of-pocket costs, no hassle. From lines of credit, term loans to revenue-based financing, LendSeek is open for business. Apply in minutes at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You know, the thing is, I don't mind having debates back and forth. But if you're going to ask a question, it got to be a real question. It cannot be a rhetorical question, because if it's a rhetorical question, you throw it out there, you keep talking. It would be like me. Look, there are times I say, hey, call 866-391-1020, and somebody will bring up a point, and I'm like, hey, let me ask you this question. I'm not saying it rhetorically because I want to hear what your answer. I might be wrong. You might agree with me, or you might change my mind. I'm open-minded to that possibility as well. I'd like to learn. I want to be the right type of person on the airwaves, the right type of person in society. But when you ask rhetorical questions and you keep going, when you drop bombs like this is us taking our country back. Okay. You're talking about, militarizing ICE in American cities after a president said, people forget that he said this, talking about quoting presidents. Maybe we should use our urban cities as like training grounds for our military. There were people that said, oh, he's just talking off the cuff. He's not really being serious when he says that. And then you start seeing what you've been seeing in Minneapolis, Chicago, Washington, D.C., etc. Is that taking our country back? Jamming up naturalized citizens, American citizens? And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're naturalized or you're born here. Citizen is citizen is citizen is citizen. It just is what it is. I'd like to think that that's not the Make America Great Again that people were talking about. America was never made great and powerful through brute force. Never. We have lost honor esteem, and even our geopolitical footing whenever we hold the notion that the United States of America is great because we're powerful and we pounded the table harder than anybody else. When we have done that historically, we have broken our own hand and walked away grimacing in pain and ashamed and having to take a step back. That's not being great. That's not being powerful. That's not leadership. That's the other thing about America. When America is at its best, it is a leader. It is a cultural leader, economic leader, military leader. I would dare even say democratic leader. People forget the civil rights movement inspired civil rights movements around the world, including in South Africa. MLK inspired Mandela. That's an American inspiring the world. Ronald Reagan inspired people in Poland to fight against communism. And people behind the Iron Curtain, they would hear his speeches and be inspired that we finally have an American president that wants to push back on communism, not just have détente. That's an American inspiring the world. Power moves things. It doesn't bully things around. And the immaturity of understanding what American patriotism truly is and the value of it is a toxic and cancerous dynamic in our body politic, much less, even more so in America 250. It's even worse. That's what we're seeing is not making America great. It's making America sick. No better time to get well than you're having a celebration and a reflection during that celebration. Just my 2 cents. Brian, I'll get to you after the news here on News Radio KDKA.
It's the KDKA Radio High School Basketball Game of the Week, powered by Bowser Chevrolet. Every Friday at 6, we bring you the best players, the best sounds of the game, and the best matchups in the WPIAL. This week, McKeesport visits Gateway, presented by Invisalign, Allegheny Health Network Sports Medicine, official sports medicine of high school basketball, and brought to you by tobacco-free Adagio Health, only on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. A bomb cyclone has entered the weather chat for the East Coast. Meteorologist Andrew Kozak.
Blizzard conditions for places like Hatteras. This continues to give us some snow that in many cases will top 12 to 18 inches. And for many of these areas across the Carolinas, that's more snow than they get in multiple years added up together.
Las Vegas authorities are investigating a possible biological lab they found inside a home, including refrigerators with vials of unknown liquids. Sheriff Kevin McCahill.
This has to be a slow and methodical process by design. We have to take these situations very seriously, and we take all necessary precautions to keep our personnel and community safe.
The Coast Guard has suspended the search for the crew of a Massachusetts fishing boat. Captain Jamie Frederick says a debris field was found.
If someone had been in a survival suit, there's a high probability we would have found someone in that location. And unfortunately, we didn't.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
Intuit TurboTax Free Edition. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, Student Loan Interest, and Schedule 1A.
Medicare's great, but it's not simple. Dina Schmidt and Michael Coleman from One Health Benefits are licensed Medicare specialists who sort through Medicare confusion at no cost to you. New legislation, plan changes, and rules all directly impact your coverage and wallet. Let One Health Benefits have your Medicare plan fit you and not the other way around. Wrong choices cost thousands. A single right conversation with One Health Benefits saves you money and stress. Call 724-799-8873 or go to onehealthbenefits.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus continues. Live from Australia. Featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski.
He is an animal.
Defends his belt at home in an explosive rematch against Diego Lopez.
You gotta be kidding me!
And the always dangerous Dan Hooker. Throws down with powerhouse Benoit Saint Denis in a high-action lightweight showdown.
There's never been anything like this.
UFC 325, Saturday, January 31st, only on Paramount Plus.
Attention Pittsburgh area residents. If you have Medicaid and need help with activities of basic living, Freedom Care can make it easy. With Freedom Care, the person who cares for you can be someone you love, your family, your friend, or a trusted neighbor. They can assist you with meals, bathing, eating, mobility, and more, and Medicaid pays them for your care. You stay in the home you love, surrounded by the people you choose, and it's 100% free to you. Don't wait. Call Freedom Care now. Call 412-981-1620. With Freedom Care, you get the care you need, and your loved one gets paid instantly after every shift. Feel better, heal better, and live better at home with Freedom Care. Call 412-981-1620 or visit freedomcare.com today. That's 412-981-1620. Again, 412-981-1620. 412-981-1620.
Join Beth Andrews for the Net Worth Financial Hour Saturdays at 1 to get the news and information you need to make your retirement dream a reality. That's the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews, Saturdays at 1. Net Worth Advisors, LLC is a registered investment advisor.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Very cold again tonight. Maybe an early flurry, otherwise mostly cloudy, a low of 1. Mostly cloudy, a bitterly cold day tomorrow, high near 20. Still frigid tomorrow night with clouds at a low of 4. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, I'll catch you on Monday. Hope you're having a great weekend. Colin Dunlap,
Hopefully you survive through this weekend. It's going to be bitter cold right now. Talk to you on Monday, 2 to 6, right here, KDK.
Alrighty, I got one more half an hour. 866-391-1020. Jump in, chime in. Going to Brian in Munhall. Brian, you are on KDK.
Hi, Lenny. Hey, good evening to you.
Good evening to you.
Hey, Lenny, I'd like to compliment you. You have a stream of consciousness that I could never match. You're very good at that. I mean that as a compliment. It's not a negative. You analyze things that I can barely keep up with. Hey, I'd like to mention this though. In regard, this is a topic I'm interested in because of the winter we're having.
Okay.
This either climate change or global warming. Let me try to dispel every belief that people have about that to the best of my knowledge. About 10 to 11,000 years ago was the last ice age. That's pretty well documented by how they analyze like the glacier that extended from the North Pole, and part of it ended up in Butler County. I think it's Moraine State Park. So a little after that, Lenny, agriculture began when people started to begin permanent settlements where they started to farm. They weren't hunter-gatherers anymore. They started to farm. They stayed in the same place they lived in. That's actually when, I guess you could say, a period of warming began. But it doesn't mean we can control it, okay? So nowadays, everybody says we're burning coal, we're burning wood, and that's causing the global warming. Now, that can be disputed only because, Lenny, I might have mentioned this to you before. Geologists have drilled deep holes into the Arctic, the North Pole Arctic ice, and Antarctica, and they collect
samples.
They collect ice samples. And they can measure the amount, what they thought was the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that settled back down onto the Earth. There have been periods, Lenny, way before humankind was here, that carbon dioxide was much higher in the atmosphere.
Now you do understand part of some of the theories behind that as well. Now, part of that is, for example, they've looked at things and said, okay, if there was a meteor strike, if there was a big meteor, I mean, again, we all know that the dinosaurs were taken out of here because of an asteroid hitting the Earth. They take those things into consideration as well. I understand where you're going, which is, hey, everybody blames man-made exclusively, and that would exclusively make it seem as though this never happened before until us. And to your point, there is evidence and science to show that it has. Now, there are instances as to how and why. I brought up one. If there was an asteroid strike that may have impacted either the local climate, or if it was a big enough strike, depending on when it was, it could have been much greater. You also have a lot of volcanic activity. You have, when you're starting to create the islands that are now, not some of them aren't inhabitable, but some are. When you start having a lot of volcanic activity, you're going to see that in your samples as well when you're drilling in Antarctica. So to your point as well, it's not always just man-made. Now, to that point, though, Brian, there are things that, based on science, people have been able to see that, okay, these things have been going in a different direction since man has technologically advanced itself. So two things can be true, but I understand where you're going, which is, hey, you can't just blame this on Western society over the last 100 years and act like this never happened before.
You're right. Hey, I hardly can catch up with you to try to. I'm not trying to counter you. I'm only saying, look, we've become dependent on an electrical grid that's strung out with millions of miles of wire, but one of your callers already said the wind turbines, if they get hit, they're not spinning. If they get hit by an ice storm, they're going to freeze up. There are several streets in my neighborhood.
And further to that, Brian, and this is something that this is the uncomfortable truth that people don't want to bring up. Some people can flat out afford the wind energy and the increase in cost that it's going to take until technology and businesses catch up to the curve. There are certain people that will freeze. There are certain people that will do without if you start trying to cut over sooner than later. We are a nation of 325 million individuals. And to your point, we have built a system on fossil fuels. And between the coal that we still have, the natural gas that we still have, and other resources, there needs to be a blended approach to energy, especially now that you're having everything from data centers that are going to chew up more energy to more people in the country that's going to chew up more energy. It wasn't that long ago. We were only talking about 250, 260 million Americans. I think that was maybe 40 years ago. Now we're over 320. So you have these needs for technology and people that are not going to come the same exact way based just on wind or just on solar. You need a blended approach because we are not France, we are not Norway, we are not Germany. Just look at our population.
You're right. We're a bigger country. Hey, last point. There's a trend towards building like modular or much smaller nuclear plants that are faster to build, much safer than the older types, and should supply those data centers. So anyway, hey, thank you, Lenny. Bye now.
Brian, you have a wonderful weekend. You be safe out there. Be warm as well. Speaking of being warm and being safe, let's go to another part of the country that got slammed with cold and with weather. I'm talking about Scott down in St. Louis, Missouri. He is now on KDKA.
So about 87% of published climatologists say that this warming, our increase in carbon dioxide, is mainly because of humans. Now, there were times when there was more carbon dioxide, but we couldn't have survived in those times. There's more carbon dioxide on Venus. We couldn't survive on Venus. Okay?
I agree with I agree with the last two statements, and on top, and that's why I also said to Brian, two things can be true. There can be an uptick because of what humans have done with technological advances over the last 100 years. I did say that.
Well, the climatologists are saying this warming is due mainly to humans. Okay?
Now, part of that, too, humans, Scott, is a big, wide scope because it's not just, hey, we're using a whole bunch of really bad chemicals and throwing them up into the atmosphere. I'm sure that's part of what they're saying. But as well, hold on. But as well, part of it is we are deforesting.
Cars.
We are deforesting. We are using cars.
It's mainly
machines.
Cars and industry.
Industry includes deforesting as well.
And agriculture. Agriculture also contributes, but I think the main thing is fossil fuels.
But you do realize here's a trade-off with this, and this is why this is a complex issue. Guess what else has been transpiring over the last 100 years, Scott? The quality of life, and longevity of life have both gone up.
Right.
Guess by and large what's gone on over the last 75 years with the technological advances. There's been less war overall over the last 50 to 75 years than there was the prior 150 years prior to that. The fact
Right.
that,
Well,
fact that there's been
yeah,
technological the fact that there have been technological advances has led to an encouragement of people that didn't like each other for many years, people that were opposed to each other during world wars, to be economic allies for decades on end. Again, people forget England and Germany fought against each other twice in world wars in a 35-year period of time. Now they're part of the EU as an economic force in the world. That comes about as a result of technological advances, but the trade-off
like
is
solar energy and smaller nuclear power plants and renewable energy, which is growing all over the world.
But that is also
China is kicking our tails in that technology.
And China is still
because we have
hold on, Scott. Hold on.
Because we have a dumb current president.
I gotta let you go, and only because we were having a good policy discussion until you wanted to blame it all on Trump. You're telling me American industry started in 2017? All the accusations of us being pollutants started in 2025? No. It's not true. Now, you could say, hey, we pulled out of the Paris Accords and, the old I represent the people of Pittsburgh, not Paris. Okay, fine. You want to go down that path? I get that. But, one, it's not just us. Two, this is a world issue. Again, there were times we were holding ourselves accountable to standards when it comes to pollutants, and China and India were just throwing stuff up in the air and waving it like they just didn't care. Pop culture bingo, everybody. Pay attention. I know it's late in the show, but still. There needs to be a nuanced approach to this. I'm not saying just burn as much coal as you possibly can for the next 200 years. Technology helps you do things better and cleaner. Again, there was a time in my lifetime where we were all using leaded gas to fill up our cars. And the fuel economy was much worse with leaded gas. Technology took us down a different path. So there has to be a nuanced, tiered approach to get to where we want to get to, while keeping in mind that we have some very poor people in the country. We have different sectors of the country in regards to different industries. We have different demographics. There are people in parts of the country where your good old-fashioned coal to get electricity and heat is not a bad thing in 2026. Dave in Wilkinsburg, you're on KDK.
Hi. One time I was at the Carnegie Library in Squirrel Hill, and I was there at a desktop, and I was reading news from the oil industry, and I had a couple books I had there that I was going to take out of the library, and it dawned on me. It dawned on me while I was reading the computer screen that this governments in the world today are going to drain every drop of oil out of the earth until they can. They will drain every last drop of oil out of this earth. And it looks that way. It still looks that way to me. And I was at the library a couple of days ago, and it dawned on me, well, I don't know if you want to hear this, but
you got to go quick.
Okay, at Penn and Nagley Avenue, there is a large open urban lot. It could be converted into a solar energy garden park, and it dawned on me that if they decided, the city council and the mayor's office, to put a soccer football field in the middle of it.
Dave, I got we did this proposal before. I remember this proposal now. I told you, take it to city council. Appreciate your call, but I'm running out of time, so I couldn't go through the proposal again. George and Clareton, last call. You're on KDKA.
Lenny, did you say hold your hands up in the air and party hardy like you just don't care? Rock, y'all.
There you go. You know how to play pop culture bingo. I get that.
I think. But I like to play on words. When I taught, I did teach environmental science. And unfortunately, everyone thought it was a blow-off class because it was always late in the afternoon. But still, we talked about renewable energy. And this goes back even my subbing days in the 90s. And it was very interesting. It was one of the reasons I voted for Ralph Nader in the year 2000. I thought he would have been an excellent person if he could have got some energy, bills through. But I don't know. When we talk about global warming, back then it was Nimbus 7. You ever study or hear about Nimbus 7?
No.
It was a satellite, and it filmed things over Chile, as they say now. I still call it Chile. It's like Dorset, and Argentina, back in, I think, 79. And that's what really showed the hole in the ozone. That's where Al Gore got his nickname from, right around the same era. Well, a little later, but still. And that talked about, the difference in CO2 levels and the whole bit. But there's just so much to this. And I wish we had more time. I wish we had more, I don't know, stations that delved into this, because this is where a lot of the facts are. Discussions about CO2. To some, it's too deep. Probably to most, it's too deep. But we've got some good callers on tonight. And, there were different temperature levels as far as 600 years ago, maybe, like in the Rhine Valley. That could have been why a lot of the Deutschlanders, the Germans, went from wine to beer, because of what grew. I think it cooled down. They had a cool down. Now we're seeing a fluctuation. My buddy, he has a degree in horticulture, botany, told me today, he goes, gee, you know what's happening? I said, what? He said, the Earth is trying to cool itself off. Interesting. Maybe that's why some of these vortexes are coming down, blooping down like they are, because our summers are horribly hot.
Yeah.
July, we had dew points over 70, they do it in degrees, which doesn't make sense to me, but over 70, 71 degrees. I mean, 60 to 70 degree dew points were unbearable back in the 90s. Now we're seeing 71, 72 for months at a time.
Which, and George, I got to let you go as I'm running out of time. And we could dive more into that, whether it's tomorrow or other times. But to your point, again, it's nuanced. There's a lot of things going on at once, and this is something that didn't come up just under Trump. Anywho, I'm going to break, and then I'm getting out of here, but I'm going to break. Then I'm getting out of here on News Radio KDKA.
Larry Richard for CertaPro Painters. For more than a decade, I've been working with CertaPro Painters, doing great work for me, and now is the time. Get a free estimate, get on the schedule at the right price. You never have to wonder what's next with CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Life-changing medicine is happening every day at UPMC Heart and Vascular Institute.
We have the luxury to be bold, to continue to be pioneers in the world for innovative heart care.
We are the place of discovery. Literally, the world experts in cardiac care are in this institution.
By combining technology, research, and the latest innovations, patients from all over the world come to UPMC.
Because of the expertise that exists here at UPMC, it allows us to take on patients that have been turned down at other centers.
We offer unique heart procedures that you cannot get anywhere else.
One of our founding mantras is that compassion has to be at the forefront of everything that we do.
From leading the region in cardiac procedures to being the only center in the state to offer integrated women's health and heart care, UPMC is pioneering life-changing cardiac care every day. Your heart care matters. Visit upmc.com/heart to learn more.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Now, I will be back here tomorrow, 2 to 5. News Radio KDKA, that's my normal show. Like I said, I was filling in today. I will be on Big K Morning Show. That's Larry Richard from 5:30 to 10. But I shall join him, as I always do, 8 o'clock during your drive time, talking about all things political with Larry for that hour. So I will be here tomorrow, 2 to 5. I will be with Larry, 8 to 9 on Monday morning. I will be thinking about you always and wishing you very, very well. Mike, again, thank you for always working with me and tolerating people that call in and complain about me to you and then may or may